Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Ekoki Otaku. Today with us we have a very special guest. She voices Karane Inda in the 100 Girlfriends Who Really, 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 Really Love You. I have to say all the reallys. Samidare Asahina in Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer. Tia in Overlord. And Suzuran Kazami in Liar Liar. There's a long list. I'm not going to read the entire list. We're going to go over it because if not, Onyx is going to stay there for like an entire hour trying to edit. So please give it up for Ariel Graham.
Hello, it's me. Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
Thanks to you for giving us the honor. I'm going to brag about this. We're the first anime podcast interviewing Ariel, as I understand. So
Very first one.
Finally, that's one big achievement for us. So thank you so much for granting us the honor and privilege to be the first ones on this opportunity.
Well, thank you so much. Like I said, I'm thrilled to be here, and hopefully I won't make a fool of myself. We'll see.
Nobody make a fool here. The only one that can make a fool is me and the cat. So don't worry about it. So let's go with drama already. Like Kara mentioned, one of the latest anime series that we weren't expecting to enjoy. So, I mean, the title's so fun. I wasn't expecting to see a title like this on the latest lineup on spring 2024 this year. Talking about this series, the 100 Girlfriend Who Really, 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 Really Love You.
There you go, all five.
With the main character of one of the 100 girlfriend, Karane?
Karane Inda, girlfriend number 2. That's right.
Girlfriend number 2, yeah.
Girl 2 of 100. We're in for a long ride, folks.
We got 98 to go.
Let's start with a really odd way. How does it feel to say, oh yeah, I'm girlfriend number 2?
Well, I mean, if you've watched the show, you know that Hakari and Karane, they both get hit by the love soul beam or whatever crazy power Rentaro has. They're hit at the same time, so we become his girlfriends simultaneously. That's the plot of the whole first episode, is us trying to figure out which one of his is his actual girlfriend, and at the end he's like, no, both of you, I want both of you. And thus the harem begins. So yeah, I was really thrilled when they approached me to be part of 100 Girlfriends. I checked out the series. It's weird. It's simultaneously the raunchiest, but also the most wholesome show I've ever been a part of.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
And I saw all episodes in dub, and OMG, I was not ready, and I thought that they would keep it on. It went from 0 to 30, and by the end, it went from 45 to 99.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh my god, thanks God it's only me and my wife here. If I had visit here, I would have to change or give a good explanation about this series.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I love my part as Karane, and as much fun as I've had, it's one that I've had to recommend very carefully to friends, lest they judge me. Of course, I'm already working in anime. They're already judging me, so whatever.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm like, they're going to judge me, and I'm like, they're going to judge me, but
they're going to judge you anyway for whatever.
It's just no way to win here.
Yeah, I mean, it was only a matter of time before I got onto the more pervy side of things, so whatever.
It's anime.
It's anime. It's part of the job.
True.
So, what do you like about giving your voice to Karane?
Well, Karane is a lot of fun for me to play. She's the first ever tsundere character that I've ever portrayed, which that is fun in its own right. But I really like that Karane is kind of the straight man of the group, because you have all of these strong personalities, especially near the end of the first season, where you have Nano, who's super cool. You have Shizuka, who's an adorable, precious cinnamon roll that must be protected at all costs. You have Kusuri with both of her sides. And then you have Hakari doing the whole princess thing, and then her mom gets in on it, but that's a whole other issue. And like with all these strong personalities, all these tropes that all these characters have, you need somebody to balance it out and call the characters out on their foolishness and when too much is too much. So I really like playing that role and just calling everybody out on their tropey behavior and saying, all right, you seriously need to chill. Like that sort of thing. I love being that character because that's basically who I am in real life. In real life, I'm surrounded by a lot of strong personalities in my friend group, and usually I'm the one who's being like, all right, we need to take it back like 5 steps. Thank you.
And you just mentioned the mom. I thought that it couldn't go crazier, and it will always surprise you. I couldn't go wrong. One of the 100 list, the mom of Hakari is one of the and because she's mature doesn't mean she's more serious. It's the other way around. It went nuts like never before. Ariel, you got me over there with the guard down over there. You just impersonate. You just make Karane voice. How can you do that change so easy? I mean, it is natural for you making a change of voice like that, or give you some time?
Well, for me, switching to the Karane's voice is super easy because this is a voice that I use a lot when I'm doing role-playing and role-playing games and stuff like that. This is a voice that I use for a lot of different characters.
So switching over to Karane is actually really simple for me. It's one of my favorite voices to fall back on, and with Karane, I got to take this voice and crank it up to 11. So yeah, no, I love it. I love it.
I didn't see that one coming. And I was like, whoa, how this happened? This man is from 0 to 100 in no time. Whoa.
So that's what the show's all about, is going from 0 to 100, literally.
And yeah. What about the tsundere character? So it's your first tsundere main character. Do you have to study for this, or do you already have a good idea how to be the tsundere for this role?
So that was actually the more difficult part of playing Karane. Is, like I said, this was the first tsundere character that I've ever played. So it did take me a little more time to kind of get into that headspace of, okay, she likes this guy, but she can't show it because she's trying to be tough, she's trying to be cool, she's trying to hold back how she really feels, and getting into that sort of mindset of having to hide your true feelings because, as you can already tell, I'm a very expressive person. So getting into that mindset of having to hide your true feelings was a challenge for me for this role. But I think by the end, I kind of hit my stride. The whole scene near the end of the season with the lie detector chair, that was probably one of my favorite scenes because you do not put a tsundere on a lie detector chair. That is the one thing you do not do. It is gonna destroy the world doing that. But it was really fun seeing her having to just kind of come to grips with her super strong feelings for Rentaro and finally having to admit to the world that yes, she does love this guy. It was a really fun scene to do.
Definitely. And moving on to a different scenario where we have a talking lizard who's going to be your guide to a world where you're going to save the main character doesn't want to save the world, but you might have to do it, and the neighbor is technically the princess here. So talking about Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer.
Yeah.
For those who haven't watched yet this series, how would you describe it?
So Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer, first of all, it was my first major role. So that show is always going to be near and dear to my heart. So basically, there's this giant hammer that's floating out in space, and it's gonna destroy the world. So this princess from, another dimension, she picks a handful of normal people to become knights. And these knights have animals that can talk and basically train them up to become knights. My character is actually the princess herself, who is in charge of these beast knights. And she's the one rallying them all together to save the world. Except, she wants to save the world, so she can be the one to destroy it. And that is the premise of Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer.
I feel like I hear that toxic argument many times that I'm like, whoa, I wasn't expecting for it.
If I can't have it, nobody can.
Yeah, it's actually very much that.
Or you don't break with me, I break with you. Or, I mean,
in a weird sort of way, I'm actually playing the villain of the series, even though I'm also the hero of the series. So it was a really fun like dual roles here. So yeah, I had a blast with Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer. It was such an amazing experience to get to work on that show with everybody, and I just had a blast. I just had a blast on that show.
You just remind me, usually Hispanic siblings, where they're like, nobody touched my brother or my sister, only I touched him, which is funny. But so being your main role, also Asahina. Oh my god,
Asahina.
Yeah, Samidare Asahina.
How do you get used to be in an important role like this, being technically the main character here? Because even though the main character is Yuhi, the reason that Yuhi is involved here is because is Asahina.
Well, for this and also for 100 Girlfriends, I did a lot of research on the show prior to going in and recording for the roles. When I'm able to, this doesn't happen always, but when I'm able to, I try to do as much research as I can on my characters and on the show before I go in. So I actually speed readed the entire manga series before my first session, and I think I did that in like a weekend. I did that in the span of a weekend, just read the entire thing front to back, and I pretty much knew the entire story of Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer before going in for my very first session. So I was well prepared. Maybe a little overly prepared, but I was well prepared.
So I'm curious about that, because not all voice actors prefer or have the chance to do something like this. When you read a material like this, and then you go to the recording cabin, do this influence a little bit with the direction of the voice dub director, or do it help to him to achieve the target, or does it have any side effect when you're being director by the ADR?
Well, it kind of depends on the director. I know that there are some who would prefer that you go in blind and give your own raw impression of the character. In this case, the director was just as ready as I was. So yeah, I did kind of let the manga kind of guide my performance. And even with manga and anime, it's not going to be a one-to-one translation just because of how the lip flaps work and how the translations work. So an iconic line in the manga might turn out completely different in the anime as well. I like being prepared. I like being prepared for any eventuality. So if I'm given the opportunity to do research ahead of time, I will. But it really depends on the director, whether they want you to go in blind or whether they want you to know who your character is before you start. It more depends on the director, I think.
Do they tell you, like, if they want to go, like, if they want you guys to go in blind, do they tell you beforehand, like, don't do anything? Or they don't even tell you the character, it's just like, come here and you're gonna do a read?
Early on, I didn't know who I was recording for at all. When I first came in with Funimation, I knew what show I was working on and I knew the director, but I didn't know my specific role until I got into the studio, unless it was a major role, and I didn't really start getting those until we transitioned over to Crunchyroll. But yeah, in the early days, I just knew, okay, we want you to come in for this show at this time with this director, and then I'd find out what I was doing there, whether it was Walla or a background or a character who was coming back again and again and again.
Any funny? Okay, what is the first funny moment that crossed your mind when we talk about Asahina?
The first funny moment. Probably that very first episode that I recorded for. I kind of went in a little too strong with the Samidare voice and the Karane voice are very, very similar to one another. Because they're both in that same range and they're both around that same age group of high school girl. So I actually went in a little too strong, and my director was like, "Okay, dial it back. You're sounding like Bugs Bunny a little bit." Oh, and weird comparison, but it happened. And actually, that same session, I asked my director. Jason Lord was the director on this show. Thank you, Jason. You're awesome. But I asked him, so what was it that made you want to cast me as Samidare? And I was thinking maybe there was something on my demo reel that he liked. Maybe there was a past performance that he really liked. I wanted to know what it was. And he turned to me and he said, "You've got big gremlin energy. That's why you got the part." And that's one of the best compliments anyone has ever paid me.
That's way too honest over there.
So yeah, no, I took that and I ran with it for the rest of the series. I came in super high energy, ready to go, and I think that reflected both in this and in 100 Girlfriends. I try to bring as much energy as I can to the part.
Yeah, definitely. And moving on from high school girl to a detailed secret agent who worked at the service of, oh my god, this name, the Crazy Princess, also known in the actual series as René Theater Chatelet Trial by Self. Talking about Overlord with the role of Tia.
Tia,
yep. Man.
She's like a ninja, or how would you describe her? Even though I've seen the series, I don't know how to describe her right now.
Ninja would probably be my best approximation. Ninja slash assassin slash double act with her sister Tina. So yeah, she was one of the badass characters that I got to play, which that's always fun to do. I don't think I have the voice to pull off a badass character. I don't have that deep gravelly voice that some people do. But it's always fun when I get to play a character who is so tough and so serious. It's a big shift from the usual stuff that I do. So anytime I get to play a character like that, or a character like Bao from Dead Mount Death Play, excuse me. Those characters are always a treat for me because I get to feel like a tough guy.
You know what? You just brought it because I was thinking about it. Let's jump already, breaking the script here to Dead Mount Dead game with
Death Play.
With Bao. Mm-hmm. When I saw this character, I was thinking first, for a second, like, wait, so how we went from Karane and Asahina, super hype girl, to a very dark character, dark and serious. So before we go, how do you describe Bao or from Dead Mount Dead Play?
From the most part, it seemed like she didn't want to be there. She was way more obsessed with she was way more interested in her phone than anything that was going on around her, which I can relate. I'm kind of surgically attached to my cell phone. But near the end of the series is when there's a big twist with Bao, which I'm not going to spoil for the viewers here. But there was a big twist with her near the end of the season, and things get real serious real quick with her. But most of the time, she's very detached, very just looking on the action and commenting from there. So yeah, she's just kind of very detached, aloof, and not really gonna do anything unless she is directly involved with the situation. So it again, it was kind of fun just kind of playing that more detached sort of character and not having the kind of energy level that I usually have, having to dial it back and tone it down, which it's easy for me to go all high energy and just go nuts in the booth. That's easy for me. But me having to rein it in and be a more focused, serious character, those are the roles that are a little more challenging for me.
And being those roles not typical from your experience so far, being technically, it's like an other side of the spectrum at this point.
Mm-hmm.
How easy was for you recording this character? Gave you some work, or it was easy once you were in front of the mic?
Well, considering that I'd already done work for Tia, and I think at that time I might have still been recording for Tia. I think that might have been around the same time Series 4 for Overlord came out, and Tia had a pretty good scene in that where she served the most menacing cup of tea that you've ever seen. So it was kind of easy for me to kind of slip back into that more serious, more assassin, gravelly, not gravelly, but more serious sort of voice. It was easy for me to kind of slip into that mode again because Tia was already still fresh on my mind. I'd also played a similar character many, many years ago in Fairy Tail when I played Heine Lunasea for a couple of episodes, and she was also kind of the same way. She was kind of more serious, a little tougher than my normal roles, but yeah, that was many years ago.
What kind of like headspace do you get into to be like, okay, I have to talk more like slower. I have to be like more serious and things like that. How do you disconnect yourself to get into like that headspace?
That's actually a really good question. There's not really any sort of set routine or procedure that I follow. I'm given the character, I listen to how they sound in the Japanese, and I just try to match the tone and the intensity of the original Japanese. That's really all there is to it. It's not like a particular headspace that I try to get into. I'm just taking my cues from the original performance and just going from there.
And by the way, Fairy Tail is coming back again. I know it sounds crazy, but Fairy Tail is coming with a new arc very soon. I think it's this year or next year with the 100. This year, awesome. With the 100.
I think it's in June because I was talking about that yesterday. Yeah,
it's right at the corner with the 100 years mission, which is kind of funny. It feels far off that they really took that mission and coming back years later. If you haven't watched that series, with one of the pillar of anime, just watch it.
Yeah, this is the first I've heard of Fairy Tail coming back actually, so I'm shocked and I'm very pleased. It was a really, really fun series to work on.
Definitely, and the stories, the arc, the transition, it really got me so great. All arc is a great story, and for me the finale was on point. I never thought that we'll hear that a spoiler here, they finish with Natsu, the main character, say, "Oh, now I got my license as a S rank, so let's go to that 100 years mission," which 100 years mission, it means it will take 100 years to complete. How that works, I have no clue. Nobody has a clue how it's going to work. We're about to find out how the heck 100 years mission happened here. So we're really looking forward to it.
I know how 100 mission can work. It's anime. There's your answer.
That's true.
It's great to say. Talking about when honesty might be your best tool to survive, even that is not the word to be honest. Talking about liar, where you had the role Kazami. That series got me by surprise. When I saw the trailer, I thought it was going to be something like No Game, No Life, and it surprised me. How do you describe this series?
I think it took a lot of people by surprise. The way that I was describing it to people was there was I cannot for the life of me remember the name of this manga now. It was very, very long ago when I read it, but I read something with a similar premise where this guy comes in, he's the lowest of the low, and he has to work his way up in the ranks. Actually, no. I remember how I explained it. It was kind of like Kakuraguri, except without the gambling. You start off at the lowest of the low. Everybody has ranks. And this guy manages to luck his way into the top rank and has to defend his title from all the other scrubs trying to get his top rank. So it's that sort of show. I didn't do a very good job of explaining it, did I? I'm sorry.
No, I was like, oh, Kakegurui, that anime.
Yeah, that one.
I mean, the fan base of Kakegurui will enjoy this series.
I think they would, yeah. But this was a surprising show, and it was also the first time I got to play an announcer sort of character, which I've always wanted to do. I grew up watching stuff like Yu Yu Hakusho and Dragon Ball Z, so they always had those cute announcer girls going in and giving live play-by-plays, and I always wanted to do like a role like that. So getting to do that as Suzuran was super fun, and also the cat puns. The cat puns were fun. We tried to fit as many cat puns as we could in that script.
A confession: I haven't finished the series, still like halfway. Don't worry about spoilers. I'm fine with spoilers. But she's a cat.
Kinda. She becomes a cat at one point.
I saw something. I was like, whoa, I haven't made it here, but I wasn't ready to hear this. She's a cat.
So yeah, there's one point where they go into this virtual VR game world, and Suzuran goes with the main guy as kind of his navigator, but her avatar is like this Pokemon-looking cat that kind of follows him around, and it really is like Pokemon because they're battling monsters in this VR world. And yeah, giant Suzuran cat gets to come down and wreck stuff. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I need to finish it already. One of those. I bench watched the first half. I was visiting my family back in Puerto Rico, and then every night I just go to the living room. Everybody's sleeping, and I'm like, let me play now. And I wait until everybody go to sleep, just in case something show up. I don't have to give any explanation.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Again, another super high energy role. Anytime I get to make dumb jokes throughout and cat puns throughout, is a role that I'm automatically gonna have a great time with.
No, definitely. Ariel, how do you land in the anime voice world or acting? Did you? I mean, of course, most of people start up voice. You guys are voice actors, but how do you end up in the industry, including from voice acting to anime dub?
To be honest, I kind of got really lucky and bumbled my way in. So I always knew that I wanted to do voice acting since I was a little kid. Voice acting specifically, not just acting. This is gonna date me tremendously. But I was reading a Disney Adventures Digest magazine for kids back in the 90s. And one issue that I remember was the magazine said, we're going to have an interview with Yakko Warner and Raphael of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Pinky from Pinky and the Brain and all these cartoon characters. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool. So I turned immediately to that interview, and it's with one person, the amazing Rob Paulson. And I read that interview, and that's when it like really clicked for me. It was the first time that my little kid brain figured out, hey, there are people actually doing voices for these cartoon characters. Which then became, people get paid to do voices for cartoon characters. Which then turned into, I want to get paid to do voices for cartoon characters. And that one interview I read with Rob Paulson set the trajectory for my entire career. So I always knew this was something that I wanted to pursue. So I took all the acting classes I could when I was a kid. I was in theater through junior high school, into college. I worked in radio because that was the closest thing that we had to voiceover industry in Lubbock at the time. And back then, when I was pursuing this, we did not have all of the resources that are available to voice actors today. There were no websites dedicated purely to voice acting. There were no Discord servers. There were no Facebook groups. Social media wasn't really a thing. It was just getting its feet. It wasn't really a thing as it is right now than it was back then. It was really, really hard. I didn't have all these resources available to me. So I had to figure out a way in, and I was very fortunate to, when I did finally move to Dallas, I got on the open casting call list for Funimation. And at the time, the only thing that I had to submit was a bunch of radio commercials that I had done while I was working part-time at a radio station. And sure enough, they liked what they heard. They called me in, and they kept calling me back in for more and more stuff. And it just kind of spiraled. It spiraled from there.
How do you
Now,
land?
Wait, alright. No, the real question is, have you ever met Rob Paulson in person?
Regrettably, no. I have not met him. I would love the opportunity to meet him someday and tell him how he inspired me to become a voice actress, and my career is in part thanks to him. I would love to be able to tell him that someday. Alas, the stars have not aligned. I haven't had a chance to meet him in person. Maybe one of these days. Fingers crossed, if I get big enough, maybe I'll be able to.
I can just imagine you guys like at a convention, and you guys are both invited, and like you find out at the last minute, you're like, oh my gosh, and then you see him, and I just see like running over from your booth over to his.
No, I'll start crying. I will legit start crying if that happens. That'll be the realization of a dream for me. Oh boy. One day, we'll see.
Hey, fan base, guys, you're hearing this. You guys want to help making this connection? Feel free to drop this to Rob. Feel free to clip this part, sending this to him. You need a link, you just hit me. Hey, Onyx, give me a link here. Give me something. All yours, guys. Here you go. Do your work.
Oh dear.
You look too cool.
Oh man.
How did you end up in the radio, working on the radio station?
Well, I actually, that was thanks to my dad. He was asked to do a testimonial for a doctor that he had gone to see, and while he was there, he spoke to the commercial person who was recording it, and he's like, hey, so my daughter takes theater, and she wants to do this voiceover thing. She might do some commercials for you if you ask her. And that turned into me going in a few times, doing commercials for them, and eventually the station manager was like, hey, so the guy running our morning show sound booth is leaving. Would you like to take his position? So for about a year or two, I was working for a talk radio station, having to get up at 4:30 in the morning because we went live at 6 o'clock. My sleep schedule is shot thanks to that.
How old
but it
were
did
you?
give me, this was when I was in college. So
Okay.
19, maybe 20.
Still.
Yeah, still, it's.
Wait, while college?
Mm-hmm.
You went from where you go to school, to college.
I'm sorry?
Like after work in the morning, you go to take classes.
Yeah, for a little bit I did. Went there, finished up work, and went to my classes. I graduated. Luckily, that only lasted a few months because I graduated soon after I started that job, so it wasn't as much of an issue anymore. But it was still an issue. I would actually throw on an episode of anime to wake me up in the morning. That's how I made it through watching Full Metal Alchemist and a couple of other shows, is I would put an episode on in the morning to just try and wake me up, because it's like, okay, I need to wake up. I need to figure out what happened here.
College, I have to confess, college life is wild. But I'm grateful for my experience, and sometimes I miss it because it is like a surviving years, but you have so many chances and opportunity that it was great, at least my experience.
Yeah, and in my case, college is where I met some of my best friends that I've ever had. It's where I met my husband, and it's where I met the majority of my friends who we still keep in contact through all these years. So I have very fond memory of my college days.
Definitely. Yeah, and it's not the same back in college, staying overnight studying for an exam and at the master degree. I did college many times during my master degree. I tried to do it once. I failed.
Oof.
I mean, I didn't fail exam. I failed to stay up during the night. That's the exam. But I remember back in college, I used to, my guys will do this. We were like, we're going to have an overnight. Somebody bring beers, and we're like drinking and studying overnight, and we were fine. And wake up early.
No wonder you fell asleep.
Those things do not mix. See, drinking and studying do not mix. Kids, if you're watching this, do not drink and study at the same time. It's not going to work.
You're going to fall asleep. You're not going to retain anything.
In college, don't do it, guys. Don't do it. College is crazy. Don't do it. It used to work for us in college. For master degree, it didn't work any longer. A glass of wine was enough to shut down. So I'm like, what? So,
oh, man.
Some advice to not follow, guys. And last, I was going to ask. So, I can safe to assume you're otaku from a long.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, way back in the day.
No
It's pretty much. Okay, when I was growing up, there were only 2 anime shows in syndication in my hometown: Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball Z. I watched unhealthy amounts of both. So I've been an otaku since way back in the day.
Favorite Sailor Moon?
Oh gosh, like my favorite Sailor Scout.
Yeah.
Gotta be Mercury.
Yeah. Mine was Mars.
Fair choice.
It's good. It's anime of the classic one. It's hard to believe that. I always say that. I always share it in Spanish. I share many times in Spanish. I don't know English. That my first anime, one of the first one, was Rurouni Kenshin, and because ignorance from the old times, parents are not guilty of this. When they saw anime, they saw that's cartoon, and cartoon is for kids. So they used to wake me up from my kids' bed, putting on their bed to wake up, and they played the cartoon for kids, which was a samurai slaying heads, and I was like watching all this as a kid. And years later, one day, I'm in a family reunion activity, somebody's birthday, and all the cousin is talking to my dad. He's excited. Oh yeah, watching Samurai X, Rurouni Kenshin. He was getting his, and my dad like, oh sure, I don't like it. And suddenly I walk by like, oh, Rurouni Kenshin? And he's like, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's really cool. And my dad's like, how the hell do you know about that? you play it for me. And I'm like, wait.
You approved of this.
That's not for kids. I'm like, you took me out of bed, put me in your bed, and play on the TV. And he was like, what? So, back then, they used to believe that any cartoon, any animation was for kids.
Yeah.
We watched so many weird things that today's day will be. I mean, they were not appropriate, and it's still not appropriate for kids today's day.
Yeah, I mean, and I know I said that I watched Sailor Moon and DBZ as a kid, but the thing that really actually got me into manga and anime was a show called Magic Knight Ray Earth. I don't know if anyone in the audience has heard of that. This is one of my favorite series. My friend brought the manga with her one day in school, and I had never seen a manga before. So I was looking at it, and I'm like, hey, you're reading that book backwards. And she's like, no, this is how it's supposed to be. So she handed it off to me, and the art style and the storytelling was like nothing I had ever seen before. Mm-hmm. It completely blew my mind that... Because it was to me, it was a black and white. It was just a black and white comic. But as I actually read, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. And I was hooked from that point on. Magic Knight Ray Earth was what really got me into anime and manga. So that was the one. That was the catalyst. That was what really started the spiral, I guess.
And what is it about?
It is. I guess today you would call it an isekai. It's these 3 girls from Tokyo who get spirited away to this fantasy world, and they have to become fantasy knights in order to save the princess, save the kingdom. And there's also giant robots involved. They're tasked with wakening up the. And it depends on if you're watching the show or reading the manga. They have to awaken these spirits, but the spirits are actually giant freaking mechs. So it's isekai, magical girl, mecha anime, and it's a fantastic ride. I I highly recommend anybody who hasn't checked out the series, please do yourself a favor and check it out. It is one of Clamp's best works.
Definitely. And going back to the anime world with a very odd character, talking about Connie Christensen in Hanebado. Is that right?
I was wondering when that was going to come up.
Christensen.
The Danish accent. Oh Lord.
For
So,
yeah.
It was kind of crazy actually, because when I had gotten the offer to audition for the role, it specifically said, we want a Danish accent for this character, and we want you to read for her. And I'm like, I don't speak Danish. I've never even eaten a Danish. What do I do? So I just threw on a bunch of YouTube videos. I talked with a friend who had been to Denmark and spent some time there, and came up with this weird amalgamation of German and Swedish accent kind of mixed together. And I remember going in and doing this, and I remember apologizing to the director afterwards for the accent. And then I got the part. And come to find out, I found somebody who had Danish blood in them for the role. Like, I beat someone who was actually of Danish descent, and that is wild to me. That completely took me by surprise.
Have you had any feedback from any Danish speaker?
Not yet. I am awaiting the day when an angry Dane comes to my door and tells me I did the accent wrong. I'm bracing myself for when that does happen.
Well, it might be the other way around. Hey, when you went to Denmark? You feel like it sounds like you lived a long time. You never know.
That would be great, but I think it's going to be the former rather than the latter.
But you haven't seen the series. What is it about?
It is a sports anime about badminton, of all things. Yes, every single sport has a sports anime, and badminton is no exception. This is about a girls' badminton team. The main character is the daughter of a badminton prodigy, and she has super complicated feelings towards her mom. And she deals with all these crazy rivals who want to prove that they're the best at badminton, and Connie is one of them. She is a Danish badminton prodigy who also, in a weird way, is kind of the main character's sister. You can watch the show to find out a little more about that. But it was probably one of the more dramatic roles that I've had to play. I mean, there were some funny fan servicey bits with her character, but most of her appearances were very, very dramatic, very serious, which again is something that I don't do very often. But it was a fun challenge to do this more serious, determined character with an accent that I had never even attempted before that part.
At any point, did you, like, when you were recording, did you ever, like, lose your accent and then have to come back and be like, okay, wait, restart?
Oh, yeah, all the time. It was a very challenging role for me to keep the Danish accent. And a few times we actually had to stop recording and listen to a native Danish speaker, because both of us were like, is that how it would sound? Is that right? Let's pull it up on YouTube and see how they would actually say it. So that happened more than a few times while recording as Connie. But again, it was a fun challenge, and I had a great time working on the show.
Okay, Maya, wait, Tamara, we need to refresh again. Let's put some podcasts or Danish podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like talking about weird anime sport. I think the only one of the few we're missing is anime about chess as a sport.
Disc golf.
I'm pretty sure at this point, if you look hard enough, you'll find an anime about anything.
That's true. That's so true. But moving about anime about anything, one of the also anime that I'm guilty. I haven't seen this one yet. I will tell you why soon why, but I'm looking forward to it. Talking about Hinamatsuri, where you had the role of Mao.
Yes. That was a fun one. So Hinamatsuri is about a girl with psychic powers who is just trying to live an everyday life. She meets other girls like her. It's a really funny, really weird series. It's got some crazy animation behind it. But it was a really fun show, and it was the first time that I had an episode that was basically all me. The show is split up into like 2 mini stories within the same episode. And this was the first time that I had an episode that was all me, and I do mean all me. The character that I played, she had psychic powers, and she was stranded on a island, and she was lonely and missing her friends, so she made little coconut dolls of her friends, and I did the voices for both of the coconut dolls and Mao. So that whole episode was just me. And it also had one of my all-time favorite dub moments where I was running through the forest screaming at Coconut. That is still, to date, one of my favorite scenes of anything that I've recorded, because it was the first time I got to really let loose and shout at the top of my lungs in the middle of the studio. I got to finally do the thing I've always wanted to do with anime and just scream my head off in the middle of the booth. And I still love showing people that scene because that is the scene that gets people to laugh the most.
No, definitely. Well, the reason why I haven't seen this one, correct me if I'm wrong, the dub took some time to be released, because I remember the series coming as new, and it took a while to be dubbed, which I was waiting for it, and I was in the wish list or
watch list.
Watch list?
It was wish, I don't know about Amazon. On the watch list, and it was there pending, and I think suddenly got dubbed. And by that time, also there was an update going on the app, which I lost it, and I'm like, oh. And a few weeks ago, I think I was reading about your profile, and I was like, whoa, it is dubbed finally. It's here finally. So yeah, I need to go back to that one because it always caught my attention. The trailer, the image, I was like, it sounds like one of my series. It sounds like slice of life drama all out.
Yeah, definitely slice of life, and a lot of funny bits. So if you're a fan of comedy anime, which if you watch 100 Girlfriends, you probably are, I would check out Hinamatsuri. It's an older series, but it's still a goodie. Yeah. And you can see me screaming at coconuts.
Wish not like Castaway, a different coconuts.
A little bit like Castaway, but like, anime-fied.
Castaway was a volleyball, not a coconut.
Yeah, exactly.
It was what was the brand of the ball?
Wilson.
Yep. Well, about mi casa. Jeez.
Wilson.
That's why the ball was called Wilson. But moving from coconut to something tiny but cute, talking about my tiny senpai with the role of Hoshi Ayukawa.
Yes, the Nyatuber. This was actually one of the easiest roles for me because this was just me in real life. So I'm a YouTuber and Twitch streamer myself outside of voice acting. So this was basically just me being me, and I'm glad you brought up My Tiny Senpai because this was the role that kind of landed me the part of Karane. The same director, Helena Wallstrom, was the director for both My Tiny Senpai and 100 Girlfriends. And she told me she loved my work so much with that one single character who made that one single appearance on My Tiny Senpai. She loved my work so much that she wanted me to come back and read for Karane. And yeah, it's because of My Tiny Senpai that I was able to be part of 100 Girlfriends. So that role in particular will be a standout role for me. It wasn't a very big role, but I sure had fun with it.
Definitely, and that's why you always give your best in any small opportunity, but you never know how long it's going to take you.
Exactly.
This one, I don't know how I just realized I left it for the end to wrap it up, and I realized I shouldn't have left it for the end because one of the latest series talking about Hokkaido gals.
Gals.
Hokkaido gals are super adorable.
I miswrote it.
which I'm like, wait, Kara told me the script, and I just realized which I'm watching. I'm like, wait, why I left it to the end with the role of Momoko Fuyuki? For those who haven't seen this cozy winter love story, how would you describe it?
I think you described it perfectly. A cozy winter love story. So yeah, it's about this guy who's just moved to Hokkaido, and he meets this Gyaru, this like girly girl. And she effectively charms her way into his life, and harem shenanigans ensue from there. So again, another show of a lot of fan service. Obviously not for my character, because my character's a little child. But another fun fan servicey anime for those of y'all who are into that.
Definitely. I think it's perfect timing to watch it now, because we're supposed to be already in spring. We're supposed to be kind of warm already, but those are living in North America in any coast at this point. It's freezing. There's a snowstorm in some places. Like, wait, why is there a snowstorm right now? So it is a good series to watch. And I don't know, Ariel, how this happened to you, but when I was watching this first episode, it make you feel like it's snowing. It's not bad. It showed the romantic part of a snow scenario with characters which are like cold princess but hardly warm.
Yeah. Like for an anime that takes place in such a cold part of the country, it's really nice and warm, and it's really sweet. So yeah, go check it out. It's also the first time that I had to put on a Minnesotan accent, because Fuyuki and her family, because Hokkaido, people from Hokkaido do have a strong not a strong accent, but they do have an accent that's different from standard Japanese. And so to reflect that, we gave Fuyuki's family a Minnesotan accent. And I believe Fuyuki's VA is actually from Minnesota. So she was kind of leading the charge on that, and I was kind of following along as best I could. Again, another accent that I have no experience in, and I have actually had a couple of people from Minnesota be like, girl, what is up with your accent?
What did they say was wrong with it?
They said I sounded too Canadian, apparently. I don't know what that means still. I still don't know what that means, but I'm trying to work on it, I guess. It might
went
come
so
up again.
Minnesota and you ended up Canadian.
It's kind of funny you say that, because today we just came back from Costco, and we were walking through the liquor area. I saw far about a product. They say something water, and it say clearly Canadian, and I was like, what the heck that mean?
No one knows. Nobody knows.
Anyway, Ariel, thank you so much for joining us today. For those who are considering the voice acting career, or interested, or embarking this new adventure as a voice actor, any words of advice or any life advice for anybody here?
Oh, goodness. Well, actually, something that I did a while back, I like I mentioned before, I am a YouTuber and a Twitch streamer on top of this. And on my YouTube channel, Super Geek Girl 214 on YouTube, I have a series of shorts called Things I Wish I Knew About Voice Acting Before Becoming a Voice Actress. And it's just these little tidbits of things that I found out along the way that would have really been useful advice going in. And from that, I think one of the best pieces of advice that I can give is just do whatever you have to get your name out there. Not everyone can just stumble onto a casting call list for one of the biggest studios in the business like I did, and I understand that. But in this business, networking is such an important part of what we do. Like it's like, I'd say it's like 60-70% of what we do is getting our names out there, networking with other VAs, networking with directors, and just getting our names out there, whether that's doing indie YouTube stuff, whether that's working on games, whether that's taking classes and becoming friends with other potential VAs. Do whatever you have to. There are so many more resources available now than there were when I started out, and I say take advantage of those. Get on Discord, find voice acting groups, find them on Facebook, find them on Twitter, follow the studios that you're interested in working for. Just use what you've got, because trust me, VAs today, you guys have it so much easier than I did when I was starting out. I super got lucky. And I realized that. But yeah, do not underestimate the power of networking in this business. That is what's going to get you more work than anything else. It really is who you know in this business. So don't sleep on networking. That is one of the most important things you can do in this business.
Let me add to that. So some extra words. Networking is the key to everything. Any area of work, engineering, medicine, biology, chemistry, voice acting, news, anything, network is a key. However, important networking, courtesy. You want to reach anybody, make sure you are reaching anybody as a professional. No matter the level of experience, expertise or area, never underjudge a person. Always use professionalism, because you never know. The same way networking can help you to get further, networking can destroy you by not doing the right way. So you always want to go dress, just to use your tuxedo, even you're just going to buy some grocery shopping, because you never know. I mean, don't go now to the grocery shopping with a tuxedo, but you guys know.
I mean, that'll definitely get you noticed, but probably not for the reason you want to.
Exactly.
And speaking of getting my name out there, if you don't mind, if you guys, if any of you are Twitch fans out there, if y'all like watching Twitch, I'm also on Twitch as a VTuber, Super Geek Girl on Twitch. So if you guys want to check me out, see me play games badly, or just kind of hang out and chat and chat more about voice acting stuff or what I'm playing, or just kind of hang out with me, feel free to do that. Check me out on Twitch. I'd appreciate it. Any
Instagram, too?
Yes, my Instagram and my Twitter /X/ whatever we're calling it now. It's super_geek_girl on Twitter and Instagram and on Twitch, and then Super Geek Girl 214 on YouTube.
And guys, don't worry, you didn't catch that. Just go down to the description of this video, expand the description, say more ... go to more ... click over there. I'm going to expand the whole description of the video. Right over there, you're going to find all the link to Ariel webpage, or Twitch, everything that she's on YouTube, everything's going to be right there. And just navigate with your cursor or use your finger and click, and you're boom in Ariel website. And because you already made it over there to the description, roll to the left and please click like, the thumbs up there, click like, and go to the right and hit subscribe. Like and share, like I always say, on a YouTube page. It really helps us a lot to fight the algorithm YouTube that nobody understands it. Nobody will never understand it. And also, feel free to join us in our social webpage on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch. Am I missing something else right here?
And it's pretty much TikTok, all of the social media. And if by any chance you like motor racing, Formula One, you want to know what the heck is Formula One, that's gasoline, what the heck is it's a mathematical equation formula. You can also find Koki Otaku, Koki Formula One, which is a new project from Kiara. When we're covering Formula One, those say, what Formula 101? What the heck is this? Why is a paper racing? They're really just going around, or it's more than that? So it's not this sportly that we end up becoming fan by accident. So, Ariel, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been an absolute delight. Thank you, guys.
And we will see you in the next episode. Sayonara.
Bye.